If you've been thinking about buying your next home in Southwest Florida, you're going to definitely want to know everything there is about buying a hurricane damaged home. And that's what I'm covering in this video, because while hurricane damaged homes can become incredible deals, there are definitely some dishonest people out there who will feel no remorse about duping you into buying their money pit. As they say, buyer beware. So let's get after it. If this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything about living, buying, and selling in Southwest Florida, then subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market, latest news, and newest tips to keep you ahead of the curve. I'm Rick Harrison with the Home Sold Guaranteed Group at MVP Realty here in Southwest Florida, and my team and I are getting calls, emails, and texts every day from people just like you looking for help making their move to the greater Fort Myers area, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send an email, or schedule a Zoom so we can help you figure out exactly what you want and where you want to be. All of our information is in the description below. So as I mentioned today, I'm talking about buying a hurricane damaged home, what you need to know, what to look for, and how to know it's a solid buy. Because whether it's the most recent Hurricane Ian, the homes that still haven't recovered from Charlie, or another hurricane in the future, Florida gets hurricanes. It's just a fact of life in these parts. They aren't all bad, but whether the damage is as minor as a few missing shingles or as serious as 7-foot surge tearing through the home, it's not all straightforward and as quick as you might think, especially now with home and flood insurance changes in recent years. So let's start off with the buyer and seller's responsibilities as they would be in an ideal world. By law, the seller is required to disclose all damages, whether remediated and repaired or not. Much of those is recorded on a seller's disclosure form, which many agents do try to get every seller to sign. However, some are unable to. Some brokerages like ours require us to get these to both protect us and the seller from claims being made that information was not disclosed. One of the answer columns on the seller's disclosure response is I don't know, meaning the seller can let you know that they don't know about certain information on the property. On the other hand, the buyer has an equal responsibility to verify that all information being disclosed is accurate, including information that was provided in good faith. While the disclosure form is filled out to the best of the seller's ability, it is not guaranteed to be completely accurate, so it's up to you as a buyer and your agent to find out and verify all information to protect yourself from buying a lemon. Some of the things you want to know about when it comes to the extent and recourse of the damage to a property is first and foremost, what was damaged, how was it damaged, and how bad. While many homeowners may have contractors come in to inspect the damage and put together a quote, I can tell you from personal experience, there are plenty of contractors, handyman, and do-it-yourselfers who have no clue what they're doing. While help is great when an area is in a state of emergency, unfortunately it also attracts a lot of fraudsters who pose as licensed contractors and prey on those in need. If you have the opportunity, you'll want to get your own inspector to thoroughly check the property as early in the rebuilding process as possible. That means highly sensitive moisture meters, all the mechanicals, pool equipment, drains, electrical boxes and outlets, everything. Whatever the damaging factor was, whether wind, water, or fire, you want it checked. Getting all inspections could cost upwards of $1,000 or more, but it'll be well worth it in the long run if you think you're getting a great deal and find out it needs to be regutted and remodeled after you paid the seller for work you thought was already done. If work was already done, you're going to want to ask for proof of the completed work, the permits that were pulled, the information and bonding for the licensed contractors who completed the work, and any quotes or scopes of work that were provided by the contractor to the homeowner or seller. Should anything happen with the completed work after closing, you want to make sure you have a paper trail of everything that was done and everyone who did it for recourse. Just a few of the repairs that need to be handled by licensed professionals and permitted include roof repairs, door and windows, wiring and plumbing, and HVAC repairs and installs. Here's a pro tip. When and where possible, get specialists in to inspect various elements of the home as well. For example, if you're buying a home that's been remediated for mold and moisture, make sure you get an inspector who either specializes in those tests or a mold remediation company to check the work that was done. Next, you need to consider how much work still needs to be done on the home, if any, and how those costs are going to be paid. In other words, does the deal entail insurance claims or is it a straightforward cash deal? Obviously, cash deals mean the burden rests on you, but a property that had more than 50% damage or has insurance claims opened on it can be a bit trickier. For instance, if a property is found to be more than 50% damaged, it must be brought up to current codes, which many of the older homes on Fort Myers Beach were from Hurricane Ian. These homes are considered a total loss at that point and will cost much more to rebuild to current codes, making them not worth the investment for those owners who didn't have insurance. Plus, for those owners who didn't have insurance and were relying on the disaster relief funding to help them out, in many cases it only covered up to $250,000 and is not actually a grant, but an assistance loan that must be repaid back with interest, unlike insurance. In addition, many of these owners did get displaced and have to pay high rents for months due to increased demand from tons of displaced people. So not having insurance hurts financially in a variety of ways. With insurance claims opened on a property, the benefits of insurance claim can be assigned to the new owner, but it also eliminates a smooth and timely closing. It could be months before the damages are repaired after closing on your property, especially when the damage was widespread. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you've probably heard me talk about the many changes happening in the home insurance industry down here. There were some new laws passed recently that you'll definitely want to know more about if you're planning on buying the area. So I've included links to the summary for those bills in the description below as well. In addition to the repair costs, you'll also have to consider how much insurance is going to cost when the home is finally restored or rebuilt. Homes in flood zones, and more especially homes that were already flooded or are not up to code, are most likely going to have tremendously high premiums if you can get them at all, which is why only about 20% of homeowners in flood zones had flood insurance on their properties in the first place. Once you have all this due diligence done and issues weighed out, it's time to really figure out if the deal makes sense. For this, I highly recommend having a knowledgeable realtor or appraiser help you with this. However, I'll briefly explain how you can do this on your own with some free tools. First, using Zillow, you'll want to search active listings with similar criteria to the property, meaning the same number of beds, baths, square footage, and features like garage and pool, lot size, etc. These properties should all be as close to the subject property as possible, but get at least 5 properties expanding outward as far as needed. Make a list of the prices for these homes, add them up, and average them together. Do the same for the square footage of the properties. Then, divide the average price by the average square foot to give you an average price per square foot. You're going to want to repeat these steps, but for homes sold on Zillow. These numbers will give you a good idea as to what the home is realistically worth in the current market. Once you know the average price per square foot for both active listings and sold properties, you'll want to anticipate where the market is heading so you can make a solid offer that's in your best interest. Use the property trends and history at the bottom of the properties to see where home prices are trending and by how much over the last few months. You can also just tune into this channel for weekly market updates and I'll tell you exactly what's happening with prices in the market. You want to price ahead of the trends, meaning if prices are trending down, your offer should be less than where prices are currently at. If they're trending higher, I would probably consider offering somewhere close to asking price. And that's pretty much everything you need to know when it comes to buying a hurricane damaged home. But if there's something you think I missed or didn't cover, please let me know in the comments below so I can address it and make sure it gets answered. Well, that's it for me today. If you got value out of today's video, please hit that thumbs up button to let me know. And don't forget to subscribe so you're the first to be notified of the latest data, tips, and happenings in our market. And as always, please don't hesitate to reach out for help or questions as many of you do. Our contact information is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video. But until then, stay safe, stay positive, and more importantly, stay free.